Welcome everybody. We're here at El Vergel in another of our Vergel sessions. My name is Elias and we're here next to our dear friend David. I will let you introduce yourself.
I'm David Fullerton. I'm coming from Worcester, Massachusetts. I own and manage Acoustic Java, and I'm honored and happy to be here.
Thank you so much. It's the third time that you're visiting us, right?
Second.
Second time? You have to visit us. You have to visit us more, David. No, just kidding. So, guys, this is a really nice visit. We've been working with David since the beginning, actually, of Forest. I think you were one of the first roasters that we actually met in the US when we came with my mom and my brother. So I feel it's a relation that goes back from the beginning. And the idea is, to know a little bit more about those type of relationships that you have built with farmers through time and understanding what do you look for a farmer, what do you look when looking for coffees and what do you expect to build like in those relationships with the farmers.
Yeah, I remember I had I tried some of your coffee, some of the Marta's Rubies, and I remember being very surprised. It's a red bourbon. Our niche is the intersection of high scoring and sustainable coffees. So he was a higher scoring coffee that had a story that was kind of like the stories that I look for in sustainable coffees, and it was different. And then you guys actually came to the roastery at one point.
Yeah.
And because I just was interested in this red bourbon that was different, and I learned it was a natural anaerobic process, red bourbon. So that was what got me interested in the possibility of really connecting that high scoring and sustainable with some directly traded
With your brand and everything.
right.
Since you bought the Bourbon Marta Ruby and all of the relations that we have built, how have you seen that this type of relations have helped you build your brand and sharing that towards the consumers? How do you think that has changed since we meet, to say it some way?
Well, the Marta's Rubies was just the beginning of a lot of different rubies that you guys are doing. Yeah, and so, I mean, it started to change the way that I thought about what coffee could be in Lang, central Massachusetts. And so, we started trying some of the co-ferments that we found interesting. And, it's taken me down a research path. I like to do the research, but when I come to visit, you learn so much from the time you take to share the stories, and when you see what's happening, there's no substitute for that. Seeing the coffee ferment in the tanks, and asking you for the details of how you're creating these flavors, it was fascinating, and then it got me interested in the processing techniques and what you guys were doing at Origin. And as you know, I'm here. The reason I'm here is for the new Terroir project that we're doing with Acoustic Java.
I think that's actually a really interesting project because one of the things that we have been seeing with a lot of roasters that has come here, going to visit the roasters also and seeing what the consumers are looking for. I think something or a topic that has been coming a lot lately is Terroir. Like, what is Terroir? How do you define it? So you can make me the questions also, but I'm gonna make you one first just to see your answer. Is how would you personally define Terroir?
So I have to say that I found it interesting that when I presented that question to you and to your brother, I mentioned this to you earlier, his response was the same as your response, and you both said literally the same thing. Because I asked you the question, I said, look, how can roasters approach terroir when planning their roasting? And you both said, man, that's deep.
Yeah.
And the reason is I'm doing a lot of research on how terroir is constructed in wine. There are different schools of thought about it, but it has something to do with the message of it that is there at the place. Yeah. And even in talking with your marketing director, Maria, she had a great phrasing that I'll tell you, and it's the pattern that I'm finding in a lot of the writings about terroir. I'm talking with you and Shadi. Is she said it's the story of everything that is happening in the land. So it's, as a working definition, that strikes me as a nice way to think about it. It's pretty broad, but it seems to be more than just the mineral content of the soil.
I totally agree. I totally agree. And I feel that nowadays, like when you ask me that question, that it was actually focused on how can you, because at the end of the day, could you actually identify the terroir of a coffee just by tasting it? And I feel that's part of that question that I was like, I feel it's possible, but it's a lot more deep than that. Like, because what is terroir? Like we have visited the farm, we have walked it, and there's plots of the same variety that we have already identified that from one part of the lot to the other one, it's totally different, but it's the same land, same lot, same variety. So I feel that in coffee terroir goes beyond that. I feel there's unique things that you can find in each land. For example, in El Vergel, we have seen that a lot of the profiles that we have here tend to have like tropical fruits, for example. That's something that I would say that could define kind of the terroir of El Vergel, but I feel that there's a lot of more things that has to be in place to actually define terroir. But it's a huge topic, no?
Yeah, I think so.
I think it's a huge topic.
It's a timely topic because the terroir is, it translates to the earth. So the Latin root is terre for earth. So, underlying the question of what is terroir and how can you identify is the question of how we're thinking about the earth. And it involves the relationships between the earth and the coffee and the people.
And in this terroir project, David, and coming back to the farm after 2 years, how do you feel that from El Vergel we could showcase that to Acoustic Java? Like, what are your thoughts in, I don't know, making, because that's like a question that we have had lately, and is, should we try to promote producing the same coffee every year, or should we try to introduce always new coffees? What's your thoughts on that?
Well, you keep doing what you're doing, right? And but I think the idea of from year to year that the concept would be the vintage. So there's some things that you're doing. You have the co-ferments, the kind of the gateway into the rabbit hole of coffee for somebody who doesn't drink coffee. You had your your selected varietals, the SL28s, the geisha, and you seem to be thinking of these things in very methodical way. Now the varietals have their distinctive characteristics that people look for in different places. But then the unifying theory seems to be what you're doing with you have one of the things that drew into you guys in the first place was the way that you I think you share a passion, a reverence for traditions, at the same time an irrepressible impulse to innovate. To just kind of that's why I love the little spaceman in your forest project. You've got the forest and you got the spaceman.
Yeah.
So it's like looking at Earth in a different way. But I think you should just keep doing what you're doing, and there seems to be some kind of baseline. Because when I'm at your cupping table here the second time, tasting these coffees, I could recognize a certain varietal, Nick bourbon, and then the one that had the yeast infusion, like I could recognize it. So I'm starting to, I've known you guys, I've been doing this with for at least since 2018,
At least, yeah.
So, but I'm starting to now learn the language that you're trying to speak. I'm starting to understand the message.
We're trying to do
the expression of the soil that you guys are arbitrarily sharing with people. And so when we roast your coffee, I'm trying to understand how would you roast it, and how would people in my area or our customer base, how would they be able to appreciate, your intentions, okay, and what they already want to turn find that balance.
That's really nice.
It's if I may, it's the serendipitous things that one is able to pick up when they come to the origin that can help to reframe the experience. So if I could share with you when we saw your very first washing station, the original one, and you mentioned, you said, you can receive free depulpers to do the wash process, and I was here not for the wash process. I was here because of the experiments that you're doing. Yeah, and I thought, okay, I you have that adds a certain perspective that you had taken steps in a direction with the clarity of vision, and also just a sense of fun that I admire, and want to continue to encourage that and share that with people.
And now, changing a little bit the topic and going more towards Acoustic Java, like what are your next steps in Acoustic Java? What could we be expecting in the coming years? Like,
well, we're continuing to encourage our wholesale customer growth in grocery stores and in cafes and bakeries. We're doing some new packaging, some new cool fun pin packaging.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, with the coffee plant in the background. So I think we're just trying to, and we're also looking to expand our online presence. Okay. So maybe you might find some smaller. We might be able to share some of the more traditional high scoring copies that up to now, we haven't done so much at. Like we had the Cosmic Geisha, but that's an 8-day, and it's an 8-day fermentation. Now, so maybe some more classic profiles as we keep trying to share the knowledge and the widely available educational resources in coffee, in the value chain. So we share those with people, and they are better able to brew it, then they're gonna enjoy more and appreciate more the varieties, processes, and the expressions of the terroir.
I always make this question: what's your favorite variety from the farm?
I mean, I think it's still, I had that original connection to that red bourbon.
I knew that you were in the
It's, I think, so I love the wilder stuff, but I tend to approach it as like more of a purist, and so I like that just touch of creative processing, but with
It's still feeling a lot
sweetness on the red bourbon.
And to give you just, I don't know if I had told you this before, but actually the Bourbon Marta Rui was the first coffee of the farm with the highest score when we started the varietal program so for us it was really special, and that's why it was named like that, because it was the first one to actually make us see that there's a lot of possibilities to be done in our farm, so yeah, thank you very much, David. I hope you keep visiting us. This is your house, and we'll see you in the next chapter of El Vergel sessions.
Thank you for having me. It's an honor.